Welcome back to The Architect. My name is Edward Mugo. It's good to have you here. We are continuing with the saga of the Kariobangi South, the building that went down. And we're getting our lessons from it. Last show we talked about the owner. Today we are talking about the neighbor. And by the way, hear me. The neighbor, the owner could be you. This show is for you. So put yourself in the position of the owner. Put yourself in the position of the neighbor. What are the challenges? What are the things that you should be looking out for? So today we are looking at the neighbor. I need you to keep watching. If you've not subscribed, kindly subscribe, because I'm coming back to discuss what are the issues with the neighbor. Keep watching The Architect. My name is Edward Mugo. You've acquired a property, or you had a property, you've now decided you want to build. But right next to you, there's an apartment to the left, there's an apartment to the right. There could be even an apartment or an office block to the back. What do? Do you now stop building because there are buildings next to you? This is the neighbor. That is the scenario of the neighbor. The neighbor, what he did, he probably just went ahead on his plot lines and got an excavator, got a contractor with an excavator, and continued removing soil. For me, that was the genesis of the issue. One should realize, especially when, you remember we talked about who the civil structural engineer is, if there was a proper competent civil structural engineer involved in the excavation, then he should have brought to the attention of the owner, the employer, or the MC. The MC should have brought it up to the attention of the owner. You've given me this work to do, but there's a building right next. And we remove the soil next to the building, we will affect the foundations of the building. Because every time you have a excavation near an existing building, like these pictures you're going to see here, it is important that you underpin the existing building. Underpinning is a system where you prop up the foundations of the existing building so that your work does not affect the structure, does not impact the structure of that existing building. It is important that before you do any excavation, your engineer should give you a proper underpinning proposal. And they work hand in hand with the contractor to find out how best, and the owner of the existing building has to be involved to find out how best that underpinning is going to happen. This is a fairly regular thing that is normally done in day-to-day building. Every time in urban centers where projects are coming up daily and the sites are constrained between buildings, underpinning is a way of life. It has to be done. And this is why we are saying, if we are in the position of the neighbor and you get your property that is next to buildings which are already built up, you do not have to live, say, 5 meters away from them. No, that is your land. You need to build on it. But you can build right next to a wall, but it has to be structurally supported by underpinning. This is also very, you've heard of cases where boundary walls collapse because the neighbor is doing something on the other side and he has forgotten or doesn't know that he needs to underpin the boundary wall belonging to his neighbor. So you find that whatever he's doing on this other side collapses a structural wall. There are issues that have arisen because of this. Who pays for that building? That building was probably worth 50, 60 billion. Who pays for it? Is it the duty of care? Is it with the neighbor? Is it with the owner? Whose fault was it? A bit of investigation has to continue, has to be done, because it could be that the building that collapsed was perfectly sound, done perfectly well. The foundation that was done, the excavation of the foundation that was done by the neighbor affected the structural integrity on the building such that the building came down. And by the way, it could be right that if you look at the slabs, the floor slabs fell down in a homogeneous, in the nature. They did not shatter. So it could be that structurally the building was sound, but it needs to be investigated. But it is clear that the excavation of the neighbor impacted negatively on the building that was existing. So I think going forward, there needs to be investigation to find out who pays for that damage. Is it the neighbor? Is it the insurance? And this brings to fore also the issue of insurance. What insurances are there? Find the owner, we said last time, should have had building insurance for his building. But also, in a site, when you have a contractor, the insurances that should be put in place. There is a contractor's all risk, which the contractor should take out and covers all risk. It means all risk, including risk to your staff, your person, your machinery, and your neighbors. Third-party risk in case your actions cause damage like this one. One needs to be very careful when you're hiring a contractor that you look at his CAR, what we call CAR, and confirm that CAR covers you as the owner, as a developer, for anything that the contractor does that affects your neighbors. Because if that policy is defective, then that liability is on you as a developer, not on the MC, because the MC was working on your behalf. He's your servant. You are the owner of the property. So it is very important that before you get into any serious development, the insurances in a site concerning site works needs to be in place. They need to be properly executed by a reputable insurance company. But it is important that you confirm, you as a developer or the owner, that you've seen them and you've got copies of them that you've kept for safekeeping. It is important also in this case, I do not know whether there were professionals involved in this excavation and in the structure that collapsed. I don't know. But it is important that if you're there, professionals should be involved at every stage. And that is why we say there are some professionals. If you find that you get to a professional, an architect or an engineer, and you tell him, nataka tu unichore, usikakuje site, don't come to site. Just draw for me and don't come to site. That if that professional agrees to do that, that professional is not doing his duty properly. It is very poor practice for a professional to give out drawings and never visit site for supervision. That's the way now you confirm, especially from an engineering perspective, that whatever you designed for the foundation beams, for the slabs, has been done and done well. Even at the excavation stage, the professional who was a civil structural engineer should have gone to see how the excavation is impacting the neighborhood structure. And if he saw that that excavation was negatively impacting that structure, one, he should have stopped it in time. Two, he should have taken action, underpinning action, to make sure that that structure is supported. In this case, I do suspect that the engineer may not have been present, may not have even known that the owner has started construction. So it is important, even as we proceed to interrogate this case, that we get the facts. What happened? Were the professionals there? If they were there in default? Because if they were there and they gave the owner wrong information, then obviously they have to take liability for that. Keep watching The Architect. My contacts are below, and please subscribe. The next show, we are going to look at those professionals. Who are they? Who should have been there? What should they have done? Did they do it? Keep watching The Architect. My name is Edward Mugo, and as usual, God bless you all. Thank you.